Welcome, everyone, to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. Get ready for unedited, unfiltered, and unbiased talks with Polly and Kristin, because life is unedited. Are you ready to experience your highest vibrational life, seek truth, and improve your overall wellness? You're in the right place. With tales of psychic experiences and expansive living, we are covering topics that bring the mystical into our everyday lives. Intrigued? Call us now at 1-800-930-2819. We are guiding callers toward their highest expression of self. You get not one, but two psychic life coaches. Your soul's sacred journey to truth is important to us. No question is too big or too small. Stay tuned. You're about to join in on a wild psychic ride. Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures starts now. Good morning. Welcome to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. I am Kristin. As always, with me is Polly. Polly, how are you this morning?
Good. It seems like it's been forever.
Okay, I was just thinking that. So we are every second and fourth Tuesday broadcasting here on Transformation Talk Radio. But when you get, and there's math involved, when you get a month, and the second Tuesday falls just so, then sometimes at the end of the month, we miss like 2 weeks in between. And that's what happened. So now I feel like we have so much to catch up on.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So weird.
It's so weird because I haven't actually talked to you. Like normally you and I stay in touch. I haven't talked to you for a bit either. So funny.
Yes,
So
we'll have plenty to catch up on today. So first thing that I want to point out is if you're a listener who is actually viewing, then you will see right away that Polly's background is significantly different than usual, which is fun. I love it.
It's my little cabin in the woods, but I'm downstairs. My office is upstairs. I just don't have a chair, and the desk just went in 2 days ago because I literally just got this house 2 weeks ago.
I love it. Well, it looks great, and it's got good energy. Which brings us into our topic of discussion today. We are going to talk all things energy, especially Reiki energy, because that is my favorite. But I want to talk about what energy is and how we can identify it, maybe manipulate it, and then heal it. So a lot of things can go into that. First, when it comes to Reiki energy, Polly, you are a Reiki healing practitioner. I
am, but I have to put the brakes on because the most important thing that we ever do is talk about our high vibrational moments.
Oh,
because that shifts the energy,
Polly,
right? That automatically boosts it up into yes. Okay, so what is your most recent? You've got 3 weeks to choose from, right? What is it? What is it, friend?
Okay, so I recently went on a little getaway, a girls' getaway with my friends, 2 friends, and I think the entire thing was high vibrational, which was interesting because we went to a place that's not exactly known for high vibes.
True enough.
And we were in a little place called Las Vegas. But I will say I'm fairly good at protecting my energy. So I felt unaffected by the shenanigans that often are affiliated with that location. And everything about it was fun. We went on long walks. We ate delicious food. We did a boatload of Pilates. It was all good things, just sleeping in and hanging out with friends. And that was happy the whole time. I loved it. I felt very, very lucky.
That's so restorative, right? Restorative for the soul, because it's in those times when you're just hanging out with friends and doing what you want, sleeping in, that it gives your mind a rest.
Yes. And I feel like that's what I needed. Everything is so, well, you know what it is you a business owner, 3 kids, a house. I've got this chilly dog, the pug, so much going on that you need a break. And sometimes I think it's a little hard for a mom to say, I need a break, because we just are conditioned to go, 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 and you can't stop, or the world around you crumbles. So I am very fortunate that my partner and my children are cool with me taking a restorative break and just going and resetting, charging my batteries, and then coming back. And I will point out too, it was Mother's Day weekend.
Perfect. It's what
which
you wanted for Mother's Day.
exactly. Thank you for saying that because I felt a twinge of guilt when I planned this over Mother's Day weekend. But then in the end, it was like perfect. And plus, the teenagers aren't, they want to do their own thing with their friends anyway. So it wasn't like I had to be there. But we're at a stage now where when it's Mother's Day, mother does what mother wants to do.
Well, and besides that, it's not so fun on Mother's Day if you have to bake the biscuits and do whatever else you bake and prepare
Exactly.
and yeah, so good for you. That's awesome.
Yes. So it was a high vibrational weekend. How about you, Polly?
Okay, my latest high vibrational moments. I always catch myself. And you hear me say this all the time, but my latest certainly was when I was out in the trail. So I'm exploring new trails. I'm having like that's so much fun for me, and just like the animals and everything. So that's really fun. That's how I connect. But it's also like those little tiny moments when I am like unpacking, and I'm not. It's not my favorite thing to do in the world. I'll just tell you, like this moving and unpacking and all this stuff I've been doing as of late. Not my favorite, but every once in a while I'll catch myself and I'm like unpacking like a crystal or whatever, and I'm looking around and I'm like, oh my God, like look at this space. Look what I'm gonna, look what it's in the moment of creation, right? Like there's all this stuff, like I can just see it, for example, that's a big leather couch behind me. That thing is going bye-bye. I have an interior person coming in and helping me create like a spa-like environment. But that's really fun to start thinking about what's, right? That's super fun about, and look what you've accomplished. Like there's been so much that has gone down. But the uncomplicated high vibrational moment is that being outside.
I love that. It's all, and you are such a connector with nature.
Yeah.
That's cool. And it's good because like I love your mindset that you just took what could potentially be a very stressful chapter. Like moving is no joke.
It's no
Packing
joke.
up, trying to button up things on one end and immediately going into something else and unloading and establishing a new life, essentially. That is no joke. And you just spun it so positively. And like you are someone who I lean on you in that regard, I think, is anytime you're faced with a situation, and let's be honest, life can throw us some curveballs here.
True enough.
You always spin it positive. And I like that. And it's never like a fake spin. It's always just kind of like, well, here we are. Thank you, God. Here's what we can pull out of this as an item to be grateful for. I love that.
Well, I do love getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am lazy as heck. I'm the first one to say I'm lazy, but I'm so lazy, but I also love getting things done. Like I love a list.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I love a list. I may only get half of the list done every day, but I still love a list. It's like, oh my God, it makes my heart bloom.
Doesn't it though? It does. Yeah. But so you say you're lazy, you identify as lazy. However, I feel like you're not lazy as much as you're just not going to do wasted steps. Let's call it efficient.
Yeah, but I really love being late. I do love being lazy. Yeah. I have my go button, and then I have my I'm not doing a damn thing button. Like if I could have all my food delivered, I'd have all my food delivered.
Wouldn't that be great?
It would be. I'm like looking at a tomato, some potatoes, an onion, and some bananas over there. I'll have some avocados too. What am I going to do with them?
What can I make with that? We'll have to Google a recipe for all those ingredients. Yes. It's the banana avocado combo that might be questionable, but hey, you never know. Oh, yes. Do you have a blender unpacked yet?
No, I don't.
Maybe you will today. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Okay, so I just have to ask one thing, and this is on the topic of energy. So I have, and these are all from Hawaii, this little place I go to in Hawaii. And so there are these little sprays. And so one of them is Manifest Vibration Mist. It amplifies intentions and soothes spirits. One of them is Rose and Gold. It lifts spirits, soothes body and mind. and one of them has frankincense and mononomic gold. It soothes and protects energy. So what do we want on the show today?
I would love to soothe and protect energy.
Where is that one? Oh, it's got obsidian in it.
Ooh.
That's it. So
nice.
Let's go for it.
Okay, I'm here for that.
3 sprays and take 3 deep breaths.
Yay.
And there we are.
And here we are. And I love that the spray, this is a perfect segue into it, can affect the energy, which just shows you that anything can affect our energy in a variety of different ways, positive, negative, it just shift it slightly. So, which is why Polly was so insistent, appropriately so, on us sharing our high vibrational moments, because when we start the show like that, it just triggers everything to be uplifted. So I love that. And I'm going to put a note here. We shall always start our shows like that.
Yes.
It just kicks it off.
Can I also add, so occasionally I do like small group coaching. And so, and I like to start when we do small group coaching, everybody to share their high vibrational moment. And I think it's really important to be able to share your high vibration moment without a backstory. Like without saying all the crap that went down before you had this high vibrational moment and why it was high vibrational moment. I feel like it's really important to be able to identify a high vibrational moment without bringing in the truckloads of drama and crap as to why it is.
When you said that, I just got this visual of like the high vibrational moment was like a hot air balloon, and all the backstory were these weighted things pulling it down. Like it just can't take off and be what it is when you affiliate it and drag it down.
Yeah, like allow yourself to have these high vibrational moments, these moments of joy, of success, of inspiration, however it comes to you, without the backstory.
Yeah.
Without what you've overcome, without the struggles, like just see it for who it is, for how it is, so that you can really tap into that energy.
Hey, when you're doing your coaching and you have an individual who tends to do that, like pulls down a high vibe moment with like some backstory, do you point it out to them, or do they kind of, I do sometimes. It's,
as you know, some people are less receptive to understanding the beauty of having a simple high vibrational moment, because they also say they don't have the opportunity to share much during the week. And so then when they get together, it's kind of like their way of dumping, if you will. But if they're dumping all their trash into the group, then the whole group experiences the low vibration, and then finally you see a little bit of the high vibration, but it's already like shifted the energy of the group. So you
and that's the thing about energy, is it's contagious.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So there's like this balance. I mean, look at, none of us run through life, you know, always like, you know, there's Bambi and I'm, you know, what is it, the Rainbow Kitten, whatever that band that I like.
Yes.
It's not always like that. And so it is, we do have to be aware that there's a balance, but also be aware of what we share with others, because you don't want to be, it's like you have to figure out a safe way to process the lower vibrational energies.
And I think you have to be like very aware and very purposeful. So you have to be aware that there's energy and what energy is present and being shared. And then you have to be very purposeful in what you want to put out there and what you want to receive too, because it's often a two-way street.
Absolutely. And I love the idea of, you know, having your friends high vibrational. Have some friends that are higher vibration than you. Have some friends that help you reach that point of awareness, right?
Yes. And you know what though? That's like, energy is like anything. Like if you want to be a more successful, or you want to, okay, you're on a fitness journey and you want to start really kicking up your workouts. Well, you're going to hang out with people who like to work out. And maybe there's some people that don't work out as much as you, but you'll really benefit from those who are like running 7 miles and you're up to 2. Like that's.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yes.
When my first, I think, awareness of an experience with energy was at actually one of your retreats in Savannah, and which is like right outside of Sedona in a town called Carefree, which I think is amazing that that's the name of it. But you had an activity planned during the retreat, and it was like we were kind of connecting with everyone's energy. And the first activity you had is we would close our eyes and 2 individuals would walk toward one another, stopping when you could feel the other person's energy. And it was amazing to me how far apart you could be when you actually sensed that there was someone there. And I love that you started the activity like that. So we all built some awareness and some confidence in, oh my gosh, I can detect this energy. That was so cool.
And the other thing that's really cool about that are, like, if you're in a circle or, you know, in the same room as the 2 people doing that, you, if as the observer with your eyes closed, so you're just going by what you feel, you can feel when their energy, when the 2 people's energies bump together, right? So you can have that awareness of not only your energetic field, but the energetic field of others, and how, what does it feel like when it comes together?
And there was one gentleman who attended. He was super cool. And he was doing an activity with someone else. It wasn't me. I was just an observer in this. And the other person was trying to connect with his energy, and they couldn't do it and they couldn't do it. And then he was like, oh, wait a minute. And he dropped his his white, what did he call it? Like a white, he didn't call it a force field, but that's what I thought it was, like a white wall of energy. And he purposefully dropped it. And then they were able to work together. And I thought that is that. So this was my first experience with it. And I've played around with it for years now, trying to get that same situation. So that was, what year was that, do you think?
Maybe 3 years ago?
Yeah, 21 or, yeah, probably 21.
Was it after?
Maybe 20.
Was it during COVID? I can't, oh, was it before COVID? I can't, honestly, I cannot remember.
You know what? Same. So it's been, I guess, safe to say it's been a handful of years since I first experienced that. And at your most recent retreat, which was just last month, I was able to put up like a force field around me, where when you went to connect with my energy, you said that you just kind of slid down it. And I had to do like my purposeful pullback. So that was funny to me, like the growth that we go through. When I saw him do it the first time, I was like, that's fascinating. I've never done that. Years later, now I'm able to do it. And I love that kind of when you check yourself and you see a goal and you do it. That was fun.
Yeah. And you do it all the time.
Yes.
Well, true. And look, at the other thing is we all do it all the time, because how many people do you know that might seem aloof, standoffish, or whatever? What are they doing? They're protecting themselves.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, looking at people, like, you know, our energy field, or how we are, say how we are reacting or responding, or how we are welcoming the universe, the love of the universe, is not always the same. So if we are in a, you know, when we have lower energy, like we're not like, you know, we don't feel like the cheerleader, our energy is going to be closer to us, right? It's more compacted, it's closer to us. But on those days that we're like, oh my God, you know, I feel safe, I feel inspired, I feel whatever, our energy is so wide, right? It's diffused, if you will. And because we feel safe, we feel like, yes, everything around me feels good, I'm going to feel more of it.
Yes. Yeah. But it's not always easy. And I mean, everyone has a moment where they're pulled back and when they go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's interesting? This is a different show, but think about what alcohol and that type of stuff does to your field and how people connect to you.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's got to throw some wonky stuff into it.
That's interesting. Yeah. So you have to be, okay, that's a good pro tip. for
Yeah,
sure.
what are
One,
you doing with it?
okay. Well, first of all, let me do this. So if anyone has a question for us, here is the phone number, 1-800-930-2819. If you have any questions, energy or otherwise, or would like us to pull a card for you, feel free to call. Polly and I love to engage with callers and others. So no issue is too small, too big, like give us a call. We're happy to help.
Absolutely.
Secondly, I wanted to do a little activity, but first tell another story. So we're going to do like a little energy activity. But first, back at the Savannah retreat, you did like after we did that initial feel each other's energy when we were walking toward one another, then you had us kind of do what I think now is some variation of Reiki, but we don't like to get too bogged down with the titles of things. It was energy work. If we could just call it energy work. You had a volunteer lie down and we all just kind of put our hands around and tried to feel energy, just something very basic. We weren't trying to do anything specific except connect with their energy.
Yeah.
And my hands got so freaking warm. Like it was like they were just hot. And I would call it like, oh, I got hot hands. And then oh, was it it might have been your hairdresser that was lying down. And it was like our energy it just connected. And so she was feeling like the heat from my hands. And it was the craziest thing. And so that was a really momentous moment in my life. It was a huge, huge moment for me. And I kind of played around with that. After that retreat, I did go through a couple of different like Reiki certification. I did Holy Fire Reiki, Angel Reiki. We even like you did some like, what is that called? Atonement of Reiki or something like that. Anyway, I just tried to fine tune my Reiki skills. I love it. And one of my favorite ways to really like, if I'm going to do Reiki healing on someone, this is what I love to do first. Like take my hands and just rub them together until I feel like a little bit of friction heat. And then I pull them apart and you can feel like a magnetized energy. Like there's energy from one hand to the other, pulling it in toward one another. And then I play with that energy ball and I start to like let it get bigger and then let it get a little bit bigger. And then at that point, once I've got some energy that I'm manipulating, I'll think about, for example, I own a Pilates studio. And if there's a specific class that I want filled and it's not popular, I'll think about, okay, who would be good for that class? And then I'll just take the energy and start to like send it out past my house into the neighborhood. And I just visualize it like growing into our entire city, like a parameter around the studio. And I'll ask for anyone who might benefit from Pilates practice and would be a great addition to the studio to find us. And I try to connect with their energy and just ask that they somehow are able to locate us, hear about us, be referred to us, and wish it all the best, like the highest vibe for everyone. It's great for me. It's great for the instructor. It's great for the Pilates practitioner. And then I kind of like shrink the energy back down and just like with gratitude end that little ceremony, if you will. And that has been so beneficial in if I really do want to be, so I'm purposeful again in what class do I want to fill? And I just try to connect with anyone who might be able to come in and fill that class in a like win-win situation.
I love the intention of that. And I love the fact that your awareness of the energy. So I have a question for you. Do you put in like heart energy? Are you like, okay, this is like a ball of love, and what do you have that? Or is it just like energy that's non-formed, non-labeled,
that's a good question because I think the order in which I do it, similar to how we like to start the show with a high vibe moment, I usually do this energy ball situation after my meditation. And I think the meditation I do is pretty high vibe, so it kind of brings me up. So hopefully, because I didn't think about it until you asked, but hopefully I'm vibing high enough that it is coming from a place of love. But that would be a really good way to start it off again. So like, what would you suggest? Like connecting to heart energy or how?
Yeah, I mean, I love that, but I also think having that energy it's non-labeled, right? It's just pure potential. And that's perhaps what you're working with, right? Is just pure potential. Like it's just the pure potential of, of going where it needs to, attracting what it needs to, right? Because we know that there's so much more than, it goes so much deeper than just you thinking about, I want to find the right mix for the people in the studio. It goes so much deeper than that, right? It's on so many different levels, including karmic levels and healing, right? There's like so many different levels of everything we do.
Completely. Also, well, so taking that to the next level, with the studio. So that's what I'll do when I'm trying to fill a class, but also like when I think about if I want to something just bigger than that, like if I want to connect with someone and I don't exactly know who they are, but I need a little bit of help in some area, I'll try to send it out like that. So I think what I'm trying to do is just connect my energy with something else that's going to help me hit my goal. So again, with the purpose and the openness. And then I always do a cleanse, ground, and protect of my energy. And I got it from the retreat in Savannah when he was saying he dropped his. Yeah. So I'll do that. I'll ground my feet in and I'll feel like the clearing. I have this big wind of energy go through me and it just blows away everything that's negative, low vibration, no longer serving me. And then I do my protection up. And that seems to be like what makes me feel very warm and like I've got some energy. So I start to really hone in on it and feel like the high vibe of it all, just feel the presence of it all, which it's there anyway. But when you become aware of it, then you can manipulate it, control it, and let it work in your favor as I feel it was meant to do.
And I also think it's interesting. There's two pieces to this, because if somebody is working, like we'll use your example, if somebody's working, they're using this energy to we'll say fulfill their life. They have these dreams, they have these whatever to fulfill their life. If there's some part of them that is still angry, if you will, if they have those deep-seated beliefs, it brings up a wall, right?
Okay.
But I still would encourage people to do the exercise that you're talking about, because even if all it does is bring a little sliver of light, that still creates change. So even if somebody has these deep-seated beliefs and it's very difficult for them to see that they are worthy of whatever they're asking for, I still love the process of opening up and receiving to those high vibrations, because A, it can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
And B, shifts, something has to change for a shift to happen, right? And so that's a great exercise. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, I love that. One more thing, and we're going to take a break, and I think 1 minute, we're going to take a quick break. So one thing that will happen after break is I'm going to share a personal story about my son and some energy healing I had done for him. So it's interesting in that it wasn't on me. I had to represent him, I guess would be a way to say it, and ask for energy healing on his behalf. And it was a very different type of energy healing than I had ever been privy to. So I did a little research on that and I found it fascinating. So I want to get your opinion on this. All right, well, let's go to break. Welcome back to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures with Kristin and Polly. We are talking all things energy today. We have a call-in number, 1-800-930-2819 for anyone with a question. And again, your questions are never too small. We are happy to, or too big. We're happy to talk you through anything or even pull a card for you. So do feel free to give us a call. How's my internet?
It's amazing. A miracle has occurred.
We had a little tech analysis over break, and I think we're good to go. Okay.
It's amazing.
The story I would like to share that we teased before we went to break is regarding my son and some energy healing. So he was in a car accident. Specifically, he was on a bicycle and hit by a car. So a broken leg, and physically he's going to be fine. My concern, and you know what, that's like what, as a mom, that's what I was concerned about first and foremost. Is his body okay? Once we got to a place where, yes, it's okay, and we kind of knew what the rehab and surgeries and stuff would look like, then I could take a deep breath. But I thought the trauma of it all, of seeing a car come to you, of being hit, of the healing lying there, like the whole bit. He went through a lot as a 13-year-old. And so, as one does, usually when it's just something so big, we turn to other avenues of healing that we might not always go for if everything was going smoothly. So I don't know if it was desperation or what, but I had a friend who mentioned to me about emotional code healing, which, had you ever heard of that title before?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Oh, sometimes it's called body code healing, but essentially what it was, and I will say, he had about 3 to 4 remote sessions. So no one came to the house. They just did it remotely. And after that third one, no more nightmares. The sleeping was fantastic. His energy completely shifted. His mood was changed. He was like positive, forward thinking. And so I feel, my personal thought is, it was very beneficial for him. But what it was is I worked with a practitioner. I kind of told her the story, what the situation was, what he'd been through, what we were challenged with, and what I would like to see happen. And so she had a chart, and it was certain emotions linked in with certain parts of his body. And she would do this thing where she would kind of like test her finger, and it would be, yes would be like a certain amount of pressure, and no would be a different amount of pressure. So she knew her body enough that she could kind of push like, oh, is it anxiety in the lower spine? And so if it was no, then she would go to a different part of the chart. So she had kind of like a key that she was going for, and she would just test her body for yes, no answers, channeling his energy. And I did not know that that's what she was doing until the very end. So that was pretty trusting of me to just be like, yeah, I'll take some emotional code healing for my son. And then she would do a session, a 30-minute session, and give me a complete breakdown afterward on what she found and where it was hiding in the body and if she cleared it. And then on the very last session, one of the questions was, is there anything left to be cleared in Will's body? And it was no, all cleared. And told me that. And it sounds too good to be true, but it was so amazing. His transformation and the healing that he went through at the end, like the nightmares were gone. And that was, I think, what sold me on it. And then of course I told you immediately.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that there's any way that this was like a karmic event to help him clear energy in his body, but not just like of this lifetime, but karmic energy? So this happened to clear energy from many lifetimes, so that
Polly, I never thought about that until you just said it, and now I'm really excited because I feel like yes.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I totally think it could be, right? Like things happen, and I also think like there's so many different types of energy healers, and that person worked very specific, which is maybe what you needed. And I also like it that it brings that awareness to your son of what he was carrying around, and it created a safe container for all of it to take place. And he trusts you, right? He trusts you, and you trusted that person, and so it just created this vortex of deep healing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I had never thought about that, like more than just the trauma of the accident, but some other deep stuff that needed to be moved.
Don't you think that a lot of the trauma that we have like I can say in my life, that struggles, the trauma, whatever, it's not just, look at it's like that book about it's not about the horse. It's not about the car accident. It's not about, right? It's not about that. There's something, it's connected to something so much deeper. And I'm sure deeper than just this life. I'm sure generational, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so any healing that we do is so much deeper than just like putting the Band-Aid on our knuckle. It goes so much deeper. And sometimes we have to have these experiences to have that healing that goes so much deeper, if you will.
For sure. Oh, I agree. I totally agree with that. And it's more on the other side of it. Like once you have the experience and then you process and you do some healing and things feel better on the other side of it, then I feel like we can really reflect and learn all sorts of lessons from it. When you're in the midst of it and trying to get through it and just acclimate, that is a really tough time to try to be like, what can I learn here? It's so hard. But yeah, on the other side of it, which I would say his accident, we are on the other side of it and able to reflect on it and talk about it more. And it's always been when you heal from something like that, I think part of the energy healing is to be able to reflect upon it in a way of like, wow, that was tough. I'm so thankful I got through it. I'm so thankful I was able to learn these lessons rather than, like you said earlier, it being weight that pulls down a high vibrational moment. Because essentially at the end, it's high vibe, but getting there might not have been.
And I think okay, so one of the reasons why I call myself lazy, one of the ways that I am truly lazy is I don't necessarily, like the way I work is I receive, but I think I've been doing it long enough where I have boundaries in what I receive, right?
Okay.
But even like when I'm working, doing readings and energy comes through and healing comes through, it doesn't have a label. I can feel it. I feel the energy. I feel like the vibration of the energy, if you will, but it doesn't have a label. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes when it's so natural, when anything like this or any task in life, when it's a gift that you have and it's something that really flows natural and easy for you, then when you try to break it down and label it and put steps with it, it gets like
Oh my God,
convoluted.
I'm like way too late. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's like too much for me. I mean, that's why, I mean, I think astrology is fascinating, but that's why I quit doing those charts. Are you kidding me? I can get the same information by closing my eyes as by like painstakingly looking at somebody's chart. I think it's sometimes fun to go back and look at somebody's chart.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is kind of a energy thing. So another way, the lazy thing is like, I will receive things like the other day in a message, in a reading, and this person does readings herself and does a lot of energy work, blah, blah, blah. So I was seeing where she works, and I am not, like, you research, you know so much more about different things than I do, right? Like, again, I don't do that. You research, you know, you can teach the classes. So I was seeing that where she works is like, it's kind of like where the earth energy meets the energy of the heavens, if you will. Like she's in that layer. There's like this layer, and I see her working there. I don't know where that place is. I forgot to Google it, but I don't know where that place is. And I said something to her. She was like, yes, I know what you're talking about. There's several spiritual and religion, maybe it's the Tibetans or whatever that I don't think it's that, but I can't remember. But there are several that believe in that space that I saw and that I saw her working at. And so I think that, I guess for me, why that's important is because it doesn't have, like, you can access that information and it doesn't have a label. Which goes back to Reiki or goes back to whatever, right? You have the ability to access that information, but the people, like the lady who did the key or the code healing, she had a recipe for it and it worked beautifully for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's both. There's like following that recipe. I mean, some people need that and they're so
Completely.
good at it.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And I have to tell you, had I known like her system for getting answers was flicking her finger, I would have been like, no, I'm not doing that. But then
Yeah.
once it had already proven to me that it worked,
Yeah.
and then I watched a couple of YouTube videos that she had posted of how she gets these answers, I was like,
Cool.
what? And then I dove a little bit deeper into it. And one of the things that is, gosh, I forget what it's called. It's like when you ask your body a question and you physically get an answer.
Yeah.
There's a name for it, a term. I can't remember what it is. But one of the exercises that was suggested when I did my research online is to stand straight and just kind of get an understanding of what your body says is yes and what your body says is no. So you say something very basic like, is my name Kristin? And then my body will lean in one way. And I'm like, okay, that's a yes. And then you ask something like, am I a dog? And then it would lean into no. So you get the idea of, okay, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Which is something kind of that you have suggested when we are communicating with, angels or spirit guides, like know what it feels like, get your baseline. Like, what does it feel when I connect with my angels? What does it feel like when they're giving me a
And what does truth feel like? That's a huge thing. What does truth feel like? So for anybody that's doing readings out there or just living your life, what does truth feel like? Say, like what you said, my name is, and say your name. Does your heart open? Does it, right? Or if things kind of shut down, talking about how the energy, when I was talking about earlier, how your energy can come in. When it's not truth, it goes like that. When it is a true, it goes like that. If that makes sense.
It totally does. And then one time when you and I were on Zoom and you were doing some type of energy work with me. We'll call it Reiki. And I was lying there and we were kind of in a meditation and you said like my spirit guides were there. And then you asked, would you like to know what they feel like? And I said, yes. And then I felt like all this sensation in my legs, like kind of like a tingly, like, oh, I got the chills just in my legs. And I have felt that sporadically like my whole life. And I never knew it was my spirit guides. And now, whenever like I'm having a conversation with someone and something they say that they're not really sure about, and typically it's involving like, oh, well, someone died and I think this about them, I'm not really sure. If it is, yes, I get major tingles, like up toes to hips. And if it's like not true, then I get nothing. So I love that I was finally able to connect like, oh, that's what that is. I thought it was just like, oh, I got the chills.
I love that. And I think it's so important for us to develop our way of communicating, to know what, right? But just as important, Kristin, I think just as important as that, like, yes, we communicate with the universe all the time. I mean, we just do. That's how we move through the world. But just as important as being like, okay, I'm, reaching out to my spirit guides, just as important is like having that weekend that you just had where you didn't do a damn thing.
Yes.
Right? It's just as important because it clears things, it resets, it gives you it gives you that awareness, like, a million years ago when I took chemistry classes, how you have like receptors, like in different, like for things, for medications to work, you have to have, or hormones or whatever, you have to have a receptor site, right? And it allows you, like doing those resets, like what you just had, gives you more receptor sites.
I completely agree, but it has been a journey to get to the place where I understand what you're saying, because I was so limited in thinking I can't take a weekend off. Like I need to be here cleaning things, doing laundry, working, like productivity. And I think where we're at now is we are beginning to realize, and maybe some people are way more elevated than I am, evolved than I am, but like rest is key. Rest and reset is just as beneficial as like a major workout. Like you have to have that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think I ever valued that. I think I was just like, no, that's what lazy people do. I'll work myself into oblivion, and that gets you nowhere fast.
True enough. Okay, I have a Reiki story. So
yes.
a million years ago, so it was after I had my, whatever, life-changing experience. And so I was like on a mission. I wanted to learn more about different modalities, different whatever. And so I went to Sedona, and because I was still in Alaska, I went to Sedona and I signed up for all these, all these different experiences. And so, yes, I did. I signed up for all these different experiences. But while I was there, so I was there for like a week, I was also getting certified for Reiki 1 and 2. So one of the experiences, I think she was like an angel reader. I don't know what she was. So went to her and she was like, oh, you are not supposed to get certified in Reiki. Do not take Reiki because it's going to change your whole, like everything that you're meant to do. Like that Reiki, like other energy is like figuring out Reiki. That's why we need to change things all the time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, holy crap. But the whole reason I came here was to get Reiki certified. And then I added these other little fun experiences in it. And so she like told me another little personal story. And I was like, wow, what to do. Well, I got Reiki certified. But the thing is, I think that each of us, we're going to connect to that healing energy in the way that we're meant to. And for you, Kristin, you work with people in their physical body all the time, right? And so it totally makes sense that you did that code energy thing that resonated with you because it was about the physical body parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're
and
right.
And then for me, in my lazy way of being, I got certified. I mean, I can't tell you how many classes, this is so horrible, how many classes I have signed up for different types, learning different types of energy healing. And then I drop out. I'm like the high school dropout. I drop out because I'm like, okay, this is not it for me.
Yeah. That's funny. But you don't know until you try. And then you dabble and you're like, yeah.
It's that high school dropout thing. Okay. We have to do our cards.
Yes. Okay.
For the week, energy of the week.
Okay. Energy of the week.
And I hope that like listeners, because whether or not we have ADHD or we have whatever, but we always do digress a tiny bit off topic.
Well, we get, the thing is though, it just connects to other things. And I feel like we just trust that we're rolling with our discussion so that others are benefited. There's a certain amount of trust.
Yes. That high power of faith.
All right. Yes, energy of the week.
And in case somebody cares, most people probably do not care, but that big screen TV behind me, it won't be here soon. I cannot stand those things.
Okay. What's funny is I noticed that and I was like, that's weird. Polly's usually not a TV person.
I am not. There's 3 of them in this house. They're all going bye-bye. It was a big debate. Should I have one TV in the house? I never watched TV.
Did you have one in your other house?
No. Okay. Oh, no, I did in the game room. But I never watched TV. And so I just decided, you know what? But they are so secure on the wall that I have to have some sheetrock stuff done. So I have to have somebody come in and take it off and do sheetrock and paint repair.
Wow. Part of me feels peace in that. Like they're not dangerously going to fly off the wall.
Oh, not at all. They're there. They are there. They are committed to being part of the structure.
Okay, have my card.
Okay. Oh, nice. What is that? 8 of Angels.
8 of Angels, confusion. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking is this is confusion, like an illusion, like something is going to try to hold us back, or we've been held back a little bit by something that is false. There's a little bit of You're not seeing it for what it is. And that has created a limitation and holding you back. So I'm thinking, be aware of that. Just know that if you ever come up against a obstacle this next week or so, nothing is as it seems, and you are in fact limitless, but you've set your own boundary with a little bit of confusion on a situation. It's just not, the situation is not as it seems.
I like that. Okay, so mine, I'm using the Angels Tarot. I got the Page of Pentacles.
Ooh.
And notice how he's not looking forward, and the hand is extended, offering the pentacle, which we will say abundance. So I think this calls for, are you receiving or what are you offering? Like, so how are you operating in the universe? Are you easily receiving and offering, or are you, I like that he's not holding on really tightly to that, right? I do like that, but I also noticed the bent elbow. It's not like a fully extended offer.
Oh.
Right. So I think that there's a lot of room here to decide, are you offering or are you receiving? What are you offering and what are you receiving? I like that. I also think it's important to take a stance. So the thing that this card reminds me is there's going to be in the next 2 weeks a time when you really have to take a stance and decide, yes, I am receiving this. Yes, I'm giving this. So it's really important to take a stance in your life. What are you receiving and what are you giving?
I like that.
And made it straight on. Like, it's not the time to do the, you know, whatever the universe wants me to have. Not the time for that, friends. This is the time to be really, really clear about your intentions of what you are offering, what you are receiving, and having boundaries in that and looking at things straight on.
Oh, I like that. I'm here for that. That's a good one.
Too.
We are coming to the end of our show today. So Polly, tell everyone how they can follow you, connect with you, and hear more about you.
Awesome. So you can go to my website, which is pollywirum.com. You can find my writing on Your Tango and also the Eden magazine. Instagram, Polly_Wirum. I think it's Polly_Wirum.
It is.
Thank you, Kristin.
Well, you're welcome.
Oh, yes, and if you're interested in the Sunday classes where we do psychic development, we do spiritual, like this coming Sunday, which is it the 19th? I have a special tarot instructor coming.
This is going to be cool. I'm really excited for this. Well, so we'll post information about that on our Instagram at truth.wellness.psychic. You can follow me at Garage Pilates on Instagram. And then next time, not next week, but the following, when we're back on, we have a guest. So we're running out of time right at this very moment. But Polly, can you give us just a tease of the guest?
His name is Troy. He's a phenomenal psychic. Phenomenal. His history is, so he's done a lot of TV shows and such. His history is true crime. So, but he's stepping away from that, and he's very good. I love, I'm really excited to have him with us because I, for one, appreciate people that are genuine in their ability, right? Like they're genuine. It's not a staged performance.
I love that. I'm really looking forward to meeting him and having him on. So this will be fun. And again, we will update you on Instagram at truth.wellness.psychic. Okay, Polly, always a pleasure. Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures is coming to a close today, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for calling into Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. We are psychic life coaches, Polly and Kristin, taking your calls at 1-800-930-2819 every second and fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. To work with us individually, visit pollywirum.com and garagepilates.net. Follow us on Instagram at truth.wellness.psychic and at Polly_Wirum and at Garage Pilates. We can't wait to share the next episode with you.